Hello, fellow Kingdom Hearts fans. How are you guys doing? Hope you have a wonderful day. As you guys might have known or could tell, I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. Hence the reason why this channel exists. I've been a Kingdom Hearts fan ever since the first game came out, 20 years ago. 20 ish years ago, right? I and my brother actually introduced me to the Kingdom Hearts games. He bought Kingdom Hearts back when the PlayStation 2 was a thing. Loved that game. Barely played the first one at the time because my brother rarely ever let me play his games. So back when we had a PlayStation 2, I barely had a chance to play Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. Chain of Memories, when I was on the PlayStation 2, was my game, so I played the crap out of that. And then when my brother was away to do some school activities, I would seriously sneak in playing the Kingdom Hearts games because that's how much I love Kingdom Hearts. Of course, he will always find out, always get mad at me, but I didn't care. I didn't care. That's how much I love Kingdom Hearts. I was willing to get into arguments with my brother, going behind his back, playing his games, being Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 1, just because I loved Kingdom Hearts that much. So yeah. I've caught up with the Kingdom Hearts games, like the series. I played most of the games, and a few of the Kingdom Hearts games I have not played, which was Recoded, 365 Days Over 2, Unchained X, the 365 Days game, and Chip Drop Distance. I've watched those cutscenes, so I played either played or seen the cutscenes of the Kingdom Hearts games, so I'm caught up, right? So we kind of could we figured from the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 and kind of with Melody and Memory that we were going to get Kingdom Hearts 4 sometime in the future. And we actually have currently, by the time I'm recording this, we already have a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4. I'm hoping that we don't get the Sly Cooper movie treatment and get a trailer of Kingdom Hearts 4 and just never get Kingdom Hearts 4 because Sly Cooper, another game series I love. We were supposed to get a movie, right? We got a trailer in 2016. 4 years later, no movie. I'm still peeled about that. So I'm hoping we actually get Kingdom Hearts 4. And I'm hoping it will be in soon. We get Kingdom Hearts 4 sooner than we got Kingdom Hearts 3. Because the wait for Kingdom Hearts 3 was oi. Oi. But I will be reading this article that was published June 14th that says Tatsuya Nomura refused new Kingdom Hearts 4 details in interview. Do apologize if I mispronounced the name. So it says Kingdom Hearts 4 director Tetsuya Nomura recently sat down for an interview with a Game Informer, during which he revealed a few new details regarding the upcoming continuation of the Kingdom Hearts franchise. A few interesting points are that the story for Kingdom Hearts 4 will focus more on Sora's disappearance, and according to Nomura, I'm not quite sure if there will be room to really explore the other characters' stories as much. So players shouldn't expect a deeper exploration into their favorite side character, unfortunately. Sora's importance to Nomura, however, can't be understood, as he also said that if a Kingdom Hearts game were to release not starring Sora, I would also feel like that would indicate the end of the numbered titles. He's important to the series, and that is true. At least with the numbered titles, Sora has been there. Has been the main focal point or some fashion. With the 358 over 2 days game, Sora wasn't really in there much, but he like his presence was still very important. Like he was still very important to that story. Granted that we saw him for like what 5 seconds. Sora of the entire game, Sora was still very important to that series. Same with Birth by Sleep. Even though that was supposed to be a prequel to Kingdom Hearts 1, essentially, we only got to see Sora for like 5 minutes, give or take, of the entire game. So yeah, and Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, Sora was definitely the main character you could play as. Sure, in like Kingdom Hearts 2, if you died at a certain level, like at like certain boss fights, you get to be Mickey, and part of the final boss of Kingdom Hearts 2, you could be Riku for a short time. Sure, in Kingdom Hearts 3, you got to be like Riku, Aqua, and a few other characters. But Sora has been the main character you could to play as in the numbered games, Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 combined. So there's some truth to that. There's some weight to that statement that some players shouldn't. That to the statement of I would also feel like that will indicate the end of the numbered titles. He's that important to the series. So I agree. So I actually like before going any further, I would actually welcome Kingdom Hearts 4 focusing more so like on Sora's disappearance. At the same time, if they change their mind and have a Kingdom Hearts game focus a different Kingdom Hearts game focus on that, where Kingdom Hearts 4 could focus on something else, I'll be game for that too. But Kingdom Hearts 4, if they focus mostly on Sora's disappearance, I'll also be okay with that, depending on how they execute that. Because that does sound like a very interesting concept for Kingdom Hearts 4. Anyways. So it's important to know... Numero also stated that the players are definitely going to see a few Disney Worlds in Kingdom Hearts 4. I sure hope so. Because part of the... part of the Kingdom Hearts charm is Disney. Having Disney movie themed, having like Disney Worlds in the Kingdom Hearts game. So that's literally like part of the Kingdom Hearts charm is by having these worlds. So yes, please keep them in. Keep the Disney worlds as the thing moving forward as well. Thank you. He even made a point to say that the fans can calm down regarding the aspect of the game, and once players have a chance to play the game, I'm sure they'll be relieved to find that it is definitely a Kingdom Hearts title. Also, the way Nomura talks about the quadratome makes it more like it will be acting as a hope world of sorts. You'll spend time there and then go back to different worlds and then go back there. So it's kind of so it's going to be kind of like the Hollow Bastion equivalent then. Oh, for like Kingdom Hearts 2, like I should rephrase that. In Kingdom Hearts 1, we kept on going back to Traverse Town multiple times. In Kingdom Hearts 2, we kept on going back to Hollow Bastion. So in Kingdom Hearts 4, Quadratome is going to be that world, the main world. So, okay, I'm excited for that. I'd be interested. We are able to explore that a bit as the main hope. That's interesting. I feel like with Kingdom Hearts 4 or 3, Traverse Town was that central hope. Yeah, Traverse Twilight Town. Sorry, Twilight Town was that central hope that you could visit. But in terms of cutscenes, Merlin's Tower was the central hope for the cutscenes because I feel like half the Kingdom Hearts 3 is movie. Anyways, let's get to continue before I get sidetracked again. Nomura also commented on fans' disappointment in the lack of Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3 and their concerns of the same going to Kingdom Hearts 4. While he understands that feeling, the amount of the original Kingdom Hearts characters makes it difficult to include more Final Fantasy. Quote unquote, there are so many original characters from Kingdom Hearts that are so well loved, and people want to see more of those characters. With Kingdom Hearts 3, since we did have so many original Kingdom Hearts characters, it was hard to find room for including more Final Fantasy characters. We're trying to find a good balance of that. And here's the thing. Yeah, I kind of did miss the Final Fantasy characters in the main story of Kingdom Hearts 3. Was happy to get them in the Remind DLC. But I don't want the Final Fantasy characters there just to be there. I want the Final Fantasy characters there if they're going to serve the story in a really good way. I'm going to shut up. Continue. Quote unquote, I know that some fans were concerned about that and weren't happy and want to see more Final Fantasy characters. That's something we definitely are thinking about. But just about the sheer number of original characters that we have now, it's hard to say that the extent. I'll read that statement or sentence. But just with the sheer number of original characters that we have now, it's hard to say that the exact balance is going to be and how it will play out in Kingdom Hearts 4. We can't really give you a firm reply on this just yet. And here's the thing, I have to agree with this. I have to, essentially, at the end of the day, agree with this. My overall statement about how there's like so many original characters in Kingdom Hearts that fans love and want to see more of. So I'm okay if we get 90% of Kingdom Hearts characters. But I also get, well, and this is also giving me kind of playing devil's advocate for those Final Fantasy fans that like seeing their favorite Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts. At the same token, at least have like at least two characters. At the very least, two characters that are Final Fantasy characters to be in Kingdom Hearts 4. They don't even have to play like that big of a role. Just have like a little cameo. This cameo, like I said earlier, serves to the story in a good way. Don't just have them there to have them there. Don't just have them there to be fan service. Have them there because it makes sense with the story. And I'll be okay with it. But yeah, I can't understand where the Final Fantasy fans are sad that we didn't really get any Kingdom Hearts or any Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3 until we got Remind. So I can't understand that disappointment. And I'm just gonna say right now, I've never been that closely attached to Final Fantasy. My brother always been a bigger Final Fantasy fan than I've been. But my heart lies more so with Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is my favorite Square Enix series. Anyways. That was all Nomura could say in terms of new information of Kingdom Hearts 4. Though hopefully more news is soon to follow. Okay. So, last recap. This article says Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to focus on Sora's disappearance. This also going to say that the central hope is going to be Quadratome. That they're going to at least try to put some Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 4 because they heard Yeah. Fans' reaction to the lack of the lack of Final Fantasy characters in the main story for Kingdom Hearts 3. And then it's going to have a few Disney Worlds in Kingdom Hearts 4. So, based from this, it gets me a tad bit more excited for Kingdom Hearts 4. I say tad bit because I'm taking this news with a grain of salt. Because we still have a while to go before being able to before Kingdom Hearts 4 comes. But up until then, I'm just loving being able to play all the Kingdom Hearts games on the PlayStation for me. I know it's on all the platforms, but for me, I play all the Kingdom Hearts games on the PlayStation 4. And I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts 4. The trailer of Kingdom Hearts 4, kind of going back a bit, because I did also make a reaction to that trailer. I loved it. The trailer to Kingdom Hearts 4 was great. And I so cannot wait for Kingdom Hearts 4 to get here. But yeah, Sora's disappearance is definitely important to address at some point, and I'm happy that they're planning to use Kingdom Hearts 4 as that. If that makes sense. I guess the main focal point. So, with that said, I don't really have a general thought. Oh, like I don't really have a specific thought of this besides like the whole players are definitely going to see a few Disney Worlds. Yes, that's Sora and Disney Worlds are the two musts, especially the Disney Worlds, because like I said, being able to have go to different Disney Worlds, visit like some of our like some of the Disney movies that we grew up on, teaming up on some of our favorite like Disney heroes who were maybe at one point our personal heroes growing up. I can't speak for everyone who's watching this, but for me, it brings me back to my childhood. Because I've always fantasized what it would be like to team up with like Simba or Buzz Lightyear, Jack Skeleton, Jack Sparrow, Sully, Beast, Tron, Tarzan, etc. You know, I gotta admit, I would love to see the Jungle Book make its way into Kingdom Hearts at some time. So maybe Kingdom Hearts 4 could be the place for the Jungle Book. Because, hey, I've heard rumors, and I've seen a video on YouTube where they were going to have the Jungle Book in Birth by Sleep, but we didn't. It's since we get that. So I would so love for the Jungle Book to make its way into Kingdom Hearts officially. That's just me. That's one of my like all-time wishes, because the Jungle Book is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time in terms of Disney. So I would like to see that getting some love. That and Star Wars. So Kingdom Hearts 4 could be the place. Could be the place. Please, could be the place. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands, but anyways. Let me know what you guys think about the article. And what are like some of your takeaways? Like, what are the things that drew you more in this article? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love you all. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. Be kind to one another. And as the saying goes, may your heart be your guiding key.